Hi everyone, welcome to MrDrDocs channel. If you are new to my channel, please watch the other interesting videos from ASP.NET Core and Angular. In this series, so far we discussed about how to implement CRUD operations in ASP.NET Core and Angular. The same way we discussed about dependency injection in Angular and dependency injection in ASP.NET Core. The same way we discussed about how to set up the entity framework in ASP.NET Core using database first approach. Okay, please subscribe us for more interesting videos. Okay, in this session we'll discuss about Swashbuckle in ASP.NET Core. Okay, one of the most important interview question is like how to configure the Swagger in ASP.NET Core. Okay, in this session we learned about Swashbuckle in ASP.NET Core. Okay, we need to follow three simple steps to configure this Swagger so that users or end users can see the uh, all our endpoints. Endpoints in the sense whatever the web API endpoints present in our ASP.NET Core, we can see. Okay, let's begin the working session. Okay, if you are following my videos, this is our project employee information. Okay, for this project I will configure this Swashbuckle. Okay, if you expand controller, so far we are having employee info controller and weather forecast controller. Okay, once we browse this, okay, once we browse this application, we can see what are the list of endpoints available in this employee information project. But once we set up this Swashbuckle, these two employee info controllers will be visible on the UI so that the users can see what is this employee information control, what are the methods available in this employee info controller, like what kind of HTTP attributes is going to support, what is the model, and all user can see in clearly. And even if we are having any authentication mechanisms or any authentication mechanism also, Swashbuckle or Swagger will clearly shown to the user. Okay, and anyway we have one more default controller, that is weather forecast info controller. Okay, let me set up the Swashbuckle into ASP.NET Core. First we need to install the packages. Okay, there were three packages supported by the Swashbuckle to configure. Right click on the project and click on the manage NuGet packages. Go to the browse section, just search with the Swashbuckle, the term Swashbuckle. Okay, we need to install Swagger, Swagger UI, Swagger generation. These were the three middleware components will help us to configure the Swashbuckle. Okay, we'll configure one by one. First, I am installing Swagger. It will take couple of seconds to load the required DLLs. Close it. Okay, go to the install. Swagger got installed into our employee information section. Next thing is like Swagger UI. Click on install. The current version is 6.1.2. Okay, it will take couple of seconds to install each package into our employee information solution. Okay, if you want to see the progress, just click on the output toolbar the below to the solution. Okay, UI also got installed. Next important thing is like swashbuckle.asp.NET Core.swagger generation package. Click on install. Okay, accept the terms. Here you can see the clear progress on package. Once we are done with the installation, the next step is like come back to startup.cs file, and before moving further, click on save and just build the solution to make sure everything is working post installation as well. It will take a couple of seconds to build the solution. Okay, build got succeeded. If you are following my videos, in the configure services, so far we configured dependency injection and we added DB context as a service. And in the last session, we discussed about how to move this SQL Server sensitive information from startup.cs to appsettings.json. Here, first we need to configure the, if you see here, swagger dot in the services, just search with the swagger. Here we need to add swagger generation and In configure section below use routing, we need to add two extension methods. One is use swagger. The other one is like use swagger UI. Use swagger UI expects one action. Okay. This action contains swagger endpoint. Swagger endpoint having one overload method which contains the swagger endpoint URL. I'm configuring swagger URL here, swagger.json, and the name of the swagger. Currently, we are talking about the employee information UI, employee information endpoints. The statements will end. The statements end which ends with semicolon. Okay. With this, we are done with the adding swagger as a middle layer component to the start.cs. Once we are done with this setup, please build the solution to make sure everything is working post adding these statements as well. Okay. We follow two simple steps. The first step is like we the first step we followed two simple steps so far. Okay. The first step is like we were able to install all the required packages to the employee information. The second step is like in the configure services, we added swagger generation in the configure section. Before to use routing section, we added use swagger extension method, and the same way we were able to set up swagger endpoint. Along with this, we have given the endpoint name swagger UI endpoint name as well. Okay. The next step is like once we're done with the building, just run this IAS Express to see whether we were able to see Swagger UI or not. It will take a couple of seconds to load the project. In the next session, we'll discuss about different environments to configure in ASP.NET Core. How to configure the different environments in ASP.NET Core. If you observe here we are seeing if statement environment.isDevelopment. Okay, we'll discuss about what is this environment develop and how to configure multiple environments in ASP.NET Core. Like what are the steps involved to configure this, and if you expand the solution explorer, here inside properties we have a launchsettings.json. What is this launchsettings.json and how to configure multiple exception pages in ASP.NET Core and how to implement exception handling in ASP.NET Core. We'll discuss everything in detail. Okay, in this session we'll try to learn about the Swagger UI. Okay, thanks for following my videos. Don't forget to subscribe my channel. Okay, your subscription will help us to grow, and your subscription will motivate us to do more interesting videos. In this series, I am doing only whatever the important topics required us to crack the job for full stack developer role. Okay, going forward, we are planning to do Angular, React, Azure, and all interested topics. Okay, as we discussed in our previous, append backslash with Swagger. Yes, we were able to configure the Swagger successfully. If you see here, the Swagger UI name is Employee Information Endpoints, and as we discussed earlier in the Solution Explorer, so far we are having two controllers. One is Employee Info Controller. The second one is like weather forecast controller. In our previous session, we discussed about how to test these endpoints using Postman. If you configure the Swagger, no need to go to Postman. With the Swagger only we can be able to test the endpoints. If you expand this employee information, it will clearly show us what is the attribute and what is the endpoint name, and this endpoint is expecting any parameters or not, and what is the response model here, and what kind of media type it supports, and all. Okay, if you see in the example value, this API employee information get method will return us employee ID, employee name, salary, department name. This is the model. Okay, how to test it? There is a button called try it out. Just we need to click on the try it out button, and we can see We can see an accordion or tab with the execute button. If you click the execute button, and it will make a call to the DB and it returns us the list of employees information. Okay, this is the way how we can test the endpoints as well with the Swagger UI. Okay, if we configure authentication to our endpoints, whenever we are executing this method, automatically it pops us for the, for example, if we configure auth to our API key or what kind of method we whatever the method we implemented in our endpoint, we need to supply those credentials to execute this. Means instead of Postman, this Swagger will help us to test the endpoints and see the model and everything. It will help us a lot. Okay, these are the three simple steps to configure the Swagger with the help of Swashbuckle. Right? In our next session, as I explained you earlier, in our next session we'll discuss about different environments, like how to configure multiple environments in the ASP.NET Core, and what is this user developer exception phase, and what exactly this developer exception page is going to return us the information, what is the sales page, and this HSTS, what exactly this HSTS, and everything like exception handling, everything. We'll discuss everything in detail in our upcoming session. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Please encourage us with your subscription. Thank you so much.